Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. Welcome back to another Division 2 video. My name is Prime and today I have a banger of a build for you. This is my undying run and gun crit Picaro's regen tank build, however you like to call it. This is a great setup and you can hit up to that 3 million armor while still doing damage. Running and gunning, it is a lot of fun. Lexi, one of my community members on Twitch, asked me if I could show you a crit tank build or a tank build that still can do damage. This is not particularly a full tank build, but it's a little bit of a hybrid. Her boyfriend was looking for a particular build and I thought, you know what, let's go into the lab, let's make something. And of course I already showed you that Picaro's regen build, but this is a little bit different setup. As I already explained, you can hit up to that 3 million armor while still doing damage. It is so much fun. So the community asked me for a build and here we are. This is the banger that I'm bringing you today. This not only has some damage output, but an insane amount of survivability. This combination is just perfect and this is up to 9 different cores. Yes, we have a little bit extra cores on there, a little bit more survivability, but still that damage output is on point and you can still shred through Lincoln or whatever you're playing. I'm just saying Lincoln because you see that in the background. And because we're running around with that new Ouroboros SMG, we can shred through everything. But don't worry, I will give you some alternatives if you do not have that Ouroboros yet. And if you don't have that Ouroboros yet, definitely come over to Twitch/PurePrime. We stream and help out 5 days a week, trying to get the community that clear of the incursion, just having fun and hopefully dropping that Ouroboros for you. So if you're still looking for somebody, if you're still looking for an awesome community that just has fun in the game and still helps out the community, come over to Twitch. We will love to help you get that clear. But that's enough intro for me, enough gameplay. This is especially for you, Lexi, and of course for your BF. Hopefully this is a build that he can rock with, and definitely let me know. But without further ado, let's dive right into the build breakdown, shall we? And this is the build that you just saw me shredding through everything in Lincoln and of course having insane amounts of armor. Yes, this is a run and gun build with the Ouroboros. Of course, if you don't have it, you can use a different gun as well, but we will go over that in just a second. But this is the build that you just saw. You have a lot of survivability and still a decent amount of damage output. And you could even lose some armor cores as you saw in the gameplay before. We're hitting up to that 2.6, maybe even 3 million armor while still doing damage. This is my Ouroboros Picaro's regen build. So let's dive right in, starting with my specialization, and that's the gunner specialization. Why the gunner specialization? Mainly for that 10% armor on kill. Although it already gives us a lot of survivability, this build, I still think that armor on kill is a very good place. Don't forget to always put your damages in your specialization whenever you're using a new build. So for me, for example, now build into SMG damage, build into rifle damage, and build into pistol damage. Talking about the gun, and of course, we're using the Ouroboros. This is the new exotic SMG that will drop from the incursions, and it is so much fun. Look at this, almost 90k damage, an RPM of 1485, and a mag of 50. I made sure that I got it with damage to target out of cover on there. Don't forget, this gun is on expertise level 22. Then over to the talent, and it isn't really doing that much for you, but Maybe if you saw it in the gameplay, somebody foamed me, I reloaded, I made sure that I got out of that foam, I shot that enemy back, and he is foamed now as well. And that's pretty much what the talent does. So whenever somebody applies a status effect to you, if you reload, 50% of your magazine will be that status effect that was applied on you throughout your weapon. So it's pretty nice, especially if you get trapped. You just reload, shoot all the enemies around you. They are trapped as well. So you have a little bit more survivability or a little bit more chance to get away. This Ouroboros comes with 10% critical hit chance, 10% critical hit damage, 25% reload speed, and another 10% rate of fire. Then for your secondary, you can choose for whatever you want to go for. I went for the classic M1A as, of course, this is an SMG build. If we're running and gunning around and there is somebody that we cannot reach in an higher altitude or somewhere in a building, we can take out our M1A and just tap him a few times from a distance, as the Ouroboros, an SMG, doesn't do that much on a distance. Again, I went for damage to target out of cover and I chose for Ranger. Why? Because mainly we're only using this gun if we need to pop some heads on a distance. For the handgun, you can choose for whatever you want to go for. I went for the TDI card just because. If you do not have everything expertise yet, I will try and put a handgun that you don't have expertise on this build, as this gives you a little bit extra XP and it will of course save you some materials or duplicates to donate. Then jumping over to the overview of my build, and as you can see, it's fully regen and fully crit. So starting with my mask, this is my golem mask and this is the two-piece golem. Why? Because that second piece will activate that extra 1% arm regeneration. As I just said, everything is crit chance, crit damage, and armor regeneration on there. I found it with crit chance and armor regeneration so I could roll that armor core away for some weapon damage, because as I already told you in the intro, we can maybe even lose more armor because this build is so freakishly good. This combination is freaking king. Jumping over to my other golem to activate that extra 1% arm regeneration. Again, regeneration and critical hit damage on there. Then for my chest piece, I chose to go for Seska to get a little bit more critical hit chance in, as we're missing that a little bit. Even though we're fighting with an SMG, you can still use a little bit of critical hit chance and always try to build towards that 55 to 60% crit chance before you're gonna build into crit damage. This is full red, so weapon damage, critical hit chance, and a critical hit damage mod on there, and I chose to go for Intimidate. While you have bonus armor gain 1 stack each seconds up to a max of 7, each stack increases the weapon damage of 5% to enemies within 10 meters, and all stacks are lost when you have no bonus armor. And this combination is just freaking king, getting an extra 35% weapon damage, and we almost have it all the freaking time. And if you lose it, you'll get it back in just a second. Just take out an enemy and you have so much bonus armor that you can just run around and proc that Intimidate again. Then over to my holster, and this is a very nice addition as well. This is the Picaro's holster from Brazos. We're not doing it for that skill haste, we're doing it for that 2-core gear piece. As you can see, we have an armor core on there and a weapon damage core with 15% weapon damage on our attributes. And next to that, of course, again, some armor regeneration. Then over to the knee pads. These are the Murakami knee pads, the Emperor's Guard. Again, we have it with 1% armor regeneration because it comes with that. This is the named version. And we chose to go for armor regeneration again. I found it this way, so we changed that yellow core away for another extra weapon damage. And then for the last piece, and the piece that brings this build all together, that is the Liquid Engineer. This is the named backpack of Bellstone. Why Bellstone? Because this gives us an extra 1% armor regeneration And of course, this comes with perfect Bloodsucker. Killing an enemy adds and refreshes a stack of 12% bonus armor for 10 seconds, and the max stack is 10. So we can gain up to 120% extra bonus armor. So we can get close to that 3 million armor while we're still running around with 4 reds, if you of course count that Picaros with it. So we are so freakishly tanky and we can still do damage. I found it exactly like you're seeing right now. I didn't change anything yet because I was still wondering if I would get that weapon handling away for some extra crit chance, for example. Or would I get that armor away so I can get a full red liquid engineer? But I'm doubting a little bit because the damage output is decent and the survivability is out of this world with this build. So I'm still doubting if I want to keep that armor or I want to have a little bit more extra damage output. I will probably go for that extra damage, but I wanted to show you that build in this way. None touched. The only thing I would love to see is that weapon handling being some crit chance, for example. So we could maybe lose our Seska and go for a Sokolov or go for a Grupo to up our damage even more. But that's pretty much it, the whole overview of the build. And why is Bloodsucker so good? Is because it adds and refreshes a stack. So let's take the Memento, for example. Of course, the Memento will have a great place on this build as well. I already made a build like that. That's my Picaros regen build. I will put it on the screen right now. Just put your Ouroboros on that and you have a monster of a build as well. But this is a little bit of a different version, as if we take the Memento, that gives you bonus armor. But it will give you just bonus armor whenever you pick up a trophy. You will gain that extra 10 seconds of that short-term buff. But that doesn't refresh the other buff. So for example, you pick up one trophy, you're shooting around for 8 seconds, you pick up another trophy. That means that you will have 2 seconds on the first trophy you picked up and 10 seconds on the secondary trophy you picked up. So the bonus armor will not be bigger and more and more and more, and it is very inconsistent. With Bloodsucker, you add and refresh a stack of bonus armor. So the moment that you are shooting around for 9 seconds and you're taking out that last enemy, you're not only getting that extra bonus armor, but it also refreshes that first proc. So you can just keep on procking it, and that's why it's very easy to get to that max stacks of 10 to gain that extra 120% bonus armor to just shred through everything while you are just a walking tank. So that's what I want to explain, because I already hear all the comments. Why are you not going for the Memento? This will also give you some extra weapon damage output. It could only be better. You're absolutely right. And like I said, if you want a build like that, check out my Picaros regen build. Then let's jump over to the skills. I'm using the Reviver Hive, 10% Reviver Armor Repair, 5% range and 10% health on the mods on there. And the secondary is my Foam Launcher. I love this thing. I love to trap people. And for the mods, I chose to go for 9.8% in share duration and 1 extra ammo. So let's jump over to the stats real quick and let me show you what we're rocking with. We're rocking with 57% critical hit chance, 139% critical hit damage, and 70% headshot damage. Then if we go over to our armor, we almost have 1.3 million. We have almost 130k armor on kill, as of course from our gunner specialization. And then we are close to that 60k armor regeneration. So next to that armor on kill, next to that Bloodsucker that gives us almost up on 3 million armor, we also have 60k armor regeneration a second. You can almost never get taken out. And if you're close to death, just hang in the corner for a little bit. Your armor generation will pop you all the way back to your full health. Or of course, just take one of your enemies out. You will gain that extra bonus armor, that extra survivability. So the moment you can fight, they will shoot your bonus armor first and your normal armor will be repaired until full health. And that's why this build is so much fun to play with. Let me know in the comments down below if you made a build like this and what are your thoughts. Would you change their backpack from armor to weapon damage to get a little bit more damage output? And do you have the Ouroboros yet? If you do not have the Ouroboros yet, I would go for a Vector and preferably the Dark Winner. Why the Dark Winner? Because that comes with a 50% critical hit damage on kill. So you can get even more crit shots in, higher crit shots in. So if you don't have the Ouroboros, that is a beautiful replacement. If you do not have the Dark Winner, then go for a normal Vector and try to go for Killer, as the Talent Killer will give you 40% critical hit damage whenever you take somebody out. But that's pretty much it. Thank you very much if you're still here. You are a freaking legend if you stay to the end. If you liked the video or helped you out in any way or form, make sure to like this video. And of course, if you're new here, if you want to be updated about the Division universe, the Division 2 and the future Division 3, make sure to hit that subscribe button and I will see you in the next video. PurePrime out!